Hello, everybody. Welcome to Space Zambonie. It's episode 8 of our podcast. So if you guys don't know, my name's Alex.
I'm man.
And today we have a very special guest with us. He's Paul Vibes, host of the People's Podcast.
Yes, Paul Vibes, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, dude. So give a little bit of like a background on yourself. Actually, you know what? Before
How
we
far
do that,
back? Yes.
let's do the kratom.
Doing a little kratom shot from Island Kava and Pacha. Bula, we say bula, which basically is like means cheers. Yep.
Bula.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah, tasty, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Damn.
That's neat.
Kratom. Now, I can't give the whole background on kratom. You got to do your research, but it's a plant. It's a plant from the family of the same plant family that caffeine is from. It's very energizing, relaxing, puts you in a good mood, and I like it. It's a good alternative to alcohol.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It tastes like I licked a tree. You know, like just gave a tree a big old lick, but it's good.
It's from a tree, so
yeah,
from the leaves.
no,
So.
that means it's accurate. So, dude, give a background.
How far back do I go? How far back are we going?
You know what? As far back as you want.
So you want to know what Paul
Infancy,
Vibes, how Paul Vibes came to be? Well,
yes, the origins of Paul Vibes.
The origins. Well, again, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, dude.
To me, people ask me, Paul Vibes, what is it? You know, when I was on my journey of becoming a speaker and speaking at schools of mindfulness, all my mentors, they use their last name, David Flood, Jim Ryan. My last name's Skankarelli, so I don't know if you guys are good spellers, but it's not something someone's going to type in, paulskankarelli.com.
Yeah.
So I was doing different volunteer work, involved in different clubs, started my own organization, and the word I would hear a lot is vibes. And Paul, you have good vibes, and everything's energy, right? You guys have good vibes. You check the vibes of other people, right? That's how you fell in love with your wife. She had good vibes, right? You know what I'm saying? Everything's vibes. So when I realized that, I was like, wow, like, Paul Vibes. So I created an Instagram for it. I started playing around with it. And it really, the Paul Vibes thing that I'm doing now is really an accumulation of my whole life, all the different challenges I've been through, all the different things I've accomplished, all the things I've failed at. It's accumulation of all those things. And it really goes back at the key moment in my life was overcoming my learning disability, something that still affects me to this day. And like all humans, we deal with challenges, but for me, that was my real, challenge. My journey was overcoming that. And to me, overcoming my learning disability, a big part of that was volunteer work.
Yeah.
I remember it was 2009, I think I was in 10th grade. That's the VA hospital in Northport, and I was sitting there with the veteran, just listening, not doing anything fancy, not doing like the podcast thing over here or anything like that. I was just listening to him and realizing in that moment that we as individuals, not just me, not just you, but we all have the ability to make an impact in someone's life. And from that moment, I started had this realization that I love that field. I love helping people. I love even doing something like social work. Yeah. So I started taking care of myself more. I realized I wanted to take care of myself physically. I started working out, meditating, getting involved in different volunteer experiences, becoming a president of a few different clubs in high school. And the people who used to bully me became my friends, and I realized that they were the way they were because of their suffering and their challenges. Like that saying, hurt people, right? And that kind of was a catalyst. That was a life-changing moment for me, getting involved in different volunteer experiences.
No, that's really cool, dude, because when I first met you, we didn't really get to talk too much, but afterwards we had one phone call, and we're both just talking about what we're doing. And after that, I was like, dude, the best vibes when hanging around you, because all the time, no matter what, it's smiling, laughing, or just enjoying the ride.
But not everybody's going to be like that. To me, having good vibes means being true to how you feel. So I deal with depression, I deal with different things. I have a therapist, I have mentors, I have people, and I'm all about owning how you feel. And I'll be honest, sometimes I'm not the nicest person. Sometimes I need to check myself when people call me out, and I acknowledge it. And I know when you have the word vibes in your name, you might be perceived as that. Always good vibes, and I appreciate that. But I'm human too.
No, big time.
And I deal with the fluctuating moods like everybody else. I have down days. I have problems like everybody else. But I just, like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. So I just do my best to put out good energy.
No, that's great, dude. Now, this stuff is
Kratom, right?
It tastes good. I still taste it on my tongue, dude.
Yeah.
So I did have this question, and you'll see it in the guide. So Island Kava, do you secretly work for them, dude?
I'm getting paid to hear and talk about them. I should have an Island Kava shirt. I should have worn it.
Because that it comes up all the time.
Comes up, and then I hope you actually you helped me edit a video on Island Kava. But no, did you see in the video they gave me a suitcase of money in that video?
Yeah, they just
suitcase of kratom, actually.
Oh my gosh.
They just open it up, it's just glowing cases of kratom.
No, I love and I support them because what I love is it's an environment, and for those who don't know, Island Kava's in Patchogue. Their main drinks are Kava and kratom. Why I like them is they're plant-based drinks, and it's a great opportunity and place to feel social and fun with other people without needing to drink alcohol. What's really cool is, you guys know the UFC?
Yeah.
Right? A former UFC fight opened up. Ryan McFlair, UFC fought Damian Maia. He was up there in the rankings. He opened this up because he would go to Florida and train with a lot of people. And obviously, when you're training and investing your whole time and life into fighting, you don't want to go let off some steam at a bar.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be up the next day
Big
to train. You're not going to feel good. So Kava and kratom were big popular drinks in Florida and the nice warm tropical areas. Right, it's very warm, and they were really popular. It's like, there's none in Long Island. There's some in the city, but there's none in Long Island. So we started one, and it wasn't an easy journey because everything is super regulated, this and that. But they made it happen. And what I love about it, I'm going to end on this point. What I love about it is it's such an accepting, open environment. It's not like a typical bar when you go there. It's kind of cliquey and people getting drunk and people are messed up and they're like kind of that fighting vibe. And, this is an environment where people that are there are entrepreneurs. They're into self-development. They're open to conversation. And I have brought some of my special needs clients. I'll share there, and we don't mind driving 35, 40 minutes, sometimes twice, 3 times a week, because it is an environment where you can walk in and talk to everybody.
Yeah, dude, I hate bars. I absolutely hate regular bars, especially
we like breweries though. Because
breweries are dope. I love that.
I like wine. I do drink wine.
Yeah, that's dope too. But something about the what's it called? That.
Yeah.
Not a sports bar, but very much like
where it's loud and it's
loud.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's you can't hear each other and you're just yelling, "Can I get this drink?"
It's not my vibe. My vibe in there.
I've been to Scotland bars. I've been to bars here, and almost every time, especially those one on Main Street in one of these towns that we visit all the time. And there's this guy, and he walks up to us, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" We're like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And we think he's gonna be all chill, and then he goes, "I want to fucking play darts with you guys." We're like, "This guy's gonna play darts, dude? He can barely stand." Yeah. So a place where you can go chill and feel developed and feel like you're actually progressing and doing stuff sounds awesome. It does.
No, it's a good place, and we're gonna go there together. I want to bring you guys there.
Hell yeah.
Anybody's welcome.
Now, you said that you went to school for being the life coach and not necessarily that.
Social work.
Yeah, social working. And then you're doing that for the special needs community. Now, how did you choose that path specifically? What made you feel like you wanted to really handle that stuff?
I appreciate it. Well, I think having learning disability myself, I think having anybody with any challenge, when you really dig deep and look inward and you look at the challenges you've been through, you kind of have a different appreciation and respect and openness for other people. And my work with the special needs population really started when I was in high school, because I would make friends with a lot of the kids in the life skills class, and these is a classroom where they spent the whole day. So there wasn't that much interaction with the rest of the class of school. Yeah. And even though I was in resource room and I was in inclusion classes, I didn't have a class where I was there the whole day.
Yeah.
So I became friends with these young adults. Many of them are still my friends. And they would ask, "When's Paul coming to visit?" So I built this relationship. I'd go on school trips with them. And unless you're in the classroom, you weren't usually expected to go. But they invited me to mentor there and go. So when I graduated high school, I graduated 2011 with a lot of these young adults. And I remember it was at prom or graduation, I was talking to some of the parents, and they're like, "How are we going to continue this? My kid's devastated," because they're used to that structure.
Yeah.
So basically, I was like, well, "Why don't I plan an event?" So I planned an event at a cafe, then I planned an event at a movie, and then I started playing, and then it became a non-for-profit. Because it started expanding not just to my high school, but people from all over Long Island. So it went from being called Paul's Buddy Club to Northport Buddy Club to Long Island Buddy Club. And the biggest problem I had was when I switched from Paul's Buddy Club to Northport Buddy Club. It wasn't about me. It's never been about me.
Yeah.
They loved the name, but But what happened was last summer I had to make the big decision because I wanted to go to school for social work. I made the decision to merge with another organization called PBSCF, Positive Behavioral Community Foundation. And we teamed up because, as you can imagine, running a board and a not-for-profit is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So it was nice to like team up with another organization.
Now, were there any like teachers or people that helped put you in that direction, or was that very natural?
Definitely. I wouldn't be here without all the mentors I've had. I don't get all the credit at all. None of it. I've had a lot of good support, good family, good parents, good aunts. The number one mentor for me was a man named Mr. Bajaj, and he was an amazing Indian man. He did the resource rooms in high school, but he also was he ran the club Project Tolerance that allowed me to go to the VE hospital with the veterans. So he's a social worker. So go figure, and here I am, pursuing my goal of being a social worker. So he definitely plays a role in that.
You have any like weird teachers or ones that like just like
like somebody from like Professor Umbridge from like Harry Potter or something like that. Somebody that's just like the quirky person.
Oh man, think about that one. Well, I gotta say, give a shout out. In college, I had this great professor, and he would start off each class differently than any other professor. He would spend the first half hour checking in with each student, because as a social worker, you're supposed to connect. Cool. You're not supposed to go, hey, just go right to the book and learn. He's like, let's check in. I want to check in with each one, how you're doing. And then some kids would break down. Wow. And I feel like that's important to share because, we don't know what's going on in everyone's life, but you give them the opportunity, hey, how are you really doing today? How are you really doing today? Not just let's get to business, do this podcast. You know what I mean? We all had a cry session up there. But the point I'm making is like we want to be around people that like they want to hear.
No, that's super neat.
So I learned that from him is to always spend time before you jump into work and do anything in life. Give people an opportunity to like share. We give him that space. We're like, how are you doing, Professor? And some days he'd be like, listen, man, like I got this going on, and I respect that.
I always wanted to have like some kind of breakdown with the teacher, man. That'd be dope. Because like I always had the weird teachers. Like in college, I had this professor that would have to like put on this big old glove before she even touched the chalk. And she had like a smart board too, where she said, "Oh, I'm allergic to chalk, so I can't touch the chalk."
Okay.
We're like, you have the smart board, you have all this other stuff. But then she'd put on this big ass glove, pick up the chalk, and start writing on the board. And everyone's like, what the hell is going on, man? But I've always had.
That sounds awesome.
Didn't you have weird professors too?
I mean, I had one professor, but it was from high school because technically I did the college courses in high school.
Fancy guy, you got a genius over there.
To knock out a couple because it's like, okay, they were cheaper, you get it like the semester done in like half a year and everything. So at an economics professor that would come in from CW Post, and he would refer like one of the examples was like, oh, here's a bunch of cocktails and things like that, but he would pronounce the word as cocktail. So I love that guy. That guy is great. So every time we would just be like, oh, how many cocktails are we going to drink today?
That just reminded me too. I had this professor in college. He was in my law enforcement class. So every semester I had him 3 semesters for different classes. He took a week off because his mother died. And he goes, guys, I got to take off, my mother died. Next semester, guys, I got to take off, my mother died. We're like, did he kill his mom 3 times? Like, how the hell does that work? And then...
He had a lot of moms.
Yeah. Then the last day we had him in class, he's like, all right, guys, this is the last class I'm going to have with you guys. And he brought shots for everybody.
Wow.
And we're like... We're not all 21. He goes, no, it's fine. Just go ahead. Just don't tell anyone that we like had drinks and stuff. We're like, oh, what is this guy? This was that was my security systems class.
Jeez. Was he a good professor overall? Or was he just
he
wasn't good?
Like it's not that he wasn't good. It's just that he didn't know like what he was doing.
Wow.
So we were supposed to like take stuff apart and like work on stuff, but he's just like, back when I was doing this, and we're like, that has nothing to do. Yeah.
What did he bring you to drink?
I know he had bottles of wine, like several bottles. Yeah, several bottles of wine. But back on track. So the People's Podcast. I love, one of my favorite things about your podcast is that it's not the Paul Vibes podcast. It's the People's Podcast. Yes. And I dig it because like you have so many like different unique guests too. Like you have the Reiki healing. You have like the all walks of life, Buddhism, Christian, Catholic, everything. So, we
even have you one day.
Yeah. So, like in general, like what's it all about? Like, why the People's Podcast?
I have no idea, man. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I gotta go. No, you know what it is last summer, like I told you, I made the decision to merge the organization, and I went to school, and I was like, how cool would it be? I know I want to pursue my goal of being a speaker, something I've always dabbled in being a speaker, and I've also co-hosted a show in the past with a real estate agent. And I was like, how cool would it be doing it in my house, my rules, do it when I can.
Yeah.
I do it, when I have the free time, because I knew I was going to be getting busy. And I was like, how cool would it be to have unique people, people that could touch on the subjects of spirituality, wellness, community connection. So I was like, I had this idea, and I'm a person that when I have an idea, I want to follow through, because we've all been there, more passionate about something, and then we don't act, and it's the worst feeling. It's worse than anything anybody else could do to you, because it's yourself, And I was like, I started making phone calls. The feng shui master, hey, I need help with the room.
That was so cool, dude.
The table, I got this. And if you look at the early videos on my YouTube channel, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
And it's people like you that have helped me along the way. It's all the people. And my main thing is I want to get deep with my guests, like kind of like you guys do. You ask me good questions. I want to get deep with my guests. So we've had people come on, share how they've overcome addiction, how maybe rap music or poetry or something else transforms their life, or how we've had people come on who've had disabilities, have been told they never graduate college, never drive, who've accomplished all that and more. So I want to get people on that not just want to talk about their service and their business, but more importantly share the things they've had to overcome and like what they've learned along the way. So that's kind of like the vibe that we're looking for.
No, that's so cool. Awesome. Yeah, if you ever find a hypnotist, I know I mentioned this to you before. If you find a hypnotist,
being hypnotized right now.
Oh my god,
Paul Vibes, check out his podcast.
Good vibe.
If you ever find a hypnotist, send them our way, because
That's funny. I want to do something too. I want to find a hypnotist as well.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Because I know like palm reading, I've never done. I always think that was like super cool and all.
We had that one friend that did palm reading though.
That's that was very off the cuff. Like no,
I have card reading. I have past life readers.
Whoa!
Oh man, we just talked about last time. I'm going blank on all the terminology.
Yeah.
But there's this terminology where they go back and they look into your past lives and they use soul retrieval. I mean, it's really out there. But my philosophy is be open to everything, attached to nothing. I'm open to hear about your stuff. I may not believe everything, but I want to have a dialogue. That's my philosophy.
Big time. That's super cool.
I have people do readings, man. I've had people mediums I bring on the community. And complete strangers, and they start making random people cry. Not like to make them cry, but because they bring up something that's
and
real.
sometimes to make them cry.
It happens.
How are you feeling?
Oh man.
Yeah. So like in terms of, I guess. No, because I would ask like what would be your like ideal guest, but everyone has like their own unique thing.
I think that you and Matt. Imagine look back and I say it to everybody.
Yeah. Dude, you were my best guest.
No, you know what it is. I don't have a favorite guest and I don't have like an ideal. My main thing is I want someone that's okay with being themselves and being comfortable on there. And I don't mean some people are nervous. It's not their fault. They're not used to it. But mine's like yours. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation. It's not like lights, camera, action. There's this pressure. I make it as relaxing. I make them Kava. I make them create. I make them coffee.
That's perfect.
You know what I mean? Like I make it a relaxing environment. There's no rush. I always like to when someone comes to my house to do a podcast in my studio. I want to be very laid back.
Yeah.
And I want to be we're just having conversation.
So we made a joke. I don't know if you know the comedian, but like first podcast, we're like our dream guest is just Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of her?
Sounds familiar.
So like we watched her podcast and like randomly throughout with no context or anything, just it'd show up like hashtag Party Goblin and stuff like that, and we're like, huh? So eventually, we saw her live.
Yeah. And she was actually really funny live. Because, like, when we were watching the comedy special, it just seemed kind of, like, cringy.
Yeah.
Because, like, and you originally heard her on, like, XM Radio or Sirius or something like that. And you're like, oh, my God. Because I remember watching the special and being like, I watched this comedian. And she was a little, I
was like, who the hell is that? I'm like, what?
And how was the performance?
It was awesome. Yeah,
she was so good, and she was even like nice. But when we went up to her, me and Matt had like we have to ask her who the hell comes up with these hashtags. She goes, I watched through the whole thing and I put the hashtags in there. And me and Matt just look at each other, we're like, oh my god.
Did she say why? What the hashtag means? Or it's really random?
Oh, no, it's just random.
In her mind, she just basically like sees that as like a trending possibility. Like, oh, if this could trend. But that's like if we have this podcast and randomly just hashtag motivation comes up at the bottom. It's just like, what? Now I'm going to do that. But Yeah, so it's just so funny. So, how many places have you actually done like the motivational speaking and like what at schools and like what's your approach to like when you go there?
Yeah, so obviously before COVID, I was giving talks at libraries. I was giving talks at schools, special needs organizations, a big one because of my work in the special needs community, and we all could use some motivation, and that's the most fun. The last talk I gave was so fun. It was with the special needs group, and it was so interactive. It was a lot off the cuff because they would shout out things. I was okay at that because I'm a speaker that can go with the flow. I'm not scripted, and it's better because I'm able to work off what they're saying. So if I'm talking about challenges and they scream out a challenge, I was able to work off, and I like those.
That's
I
awesome.
like talks that are very interactive. I'm a speaker that has an outline, but also adapts to the issues that the school's going through, that organization's going through. And what's cool is even when COVID happened, I was able to not give it to me a lot because they were still adjusting. I was able to give some talks to schools, and I gave a talk. It was for free. It was at an inner city school. They don't have a budget for speakers in general, especially with this going on. So they asked me to speak. They reached out, said, "Hey, listen, we got a couple classrooms of seniors who are super bummed about not being able to go to graduation, prom, all this stuff there. But a lot of them are cool entrepreneur people. They see what I think that they'd be interested to see how you've found yourself through Paul Vibes and your story." So I shared my story, and it was so cool to interact at the end because that's my favorite part is the Q&A with the students and hearing the stories and having them come up to me. And hearing some of the things that they've been up to, a lot of them took a negative situation, a situation that stinks for everybody. It's not good for this situation, not good for anybody. And they took the situation to realize. Some of them, they found their passion working in medicine. I want to work in the medicine field. Some of them realized that they started an entrepreneur. They started creating a little business. And the point of that talk and hearing from what they had to say was this theme of taking a negative into a positive. So I'm big about transmutation, about taking something that is perceived negative, like my perceived learning disability, which I remember at the time hating myself, wishing it never happened to me, to then being like, wow, I wouldn't be the person. You wouldn't be you. You wouldn't be you if it wasn't for the challenges you've been through. So having that shift.
Yeah, no, that's super important because like even with us, we've had so many things that like even just perceived negatively, or like we look back and it has that vibe or whatever, and we're like, how do we fix that? Like, how do we turn it around? Even when we were making like our original gaming videos, we would just like we would live stream and we just do very like however, and we weren't getting like anything. It was like that big old 0 views, like, and we're like, wow, no one's like even here. We're like, all right, how do we fix this? Instead of just being like, shit, like, look, I guess we're not doing it. No, we're like, all right, how do we approach this to actually fix it and do whatever?
Yeah, and then you have the energy, and I don't know you too, but I've seen you, and you always have good energy. I mean, and when I mean by good energy, it doesn't mean you always be happy, positive. It means you just seem like you care about your friends, and like I always feel like you care. And what I gotta say, with you speaking of like a perceived negatives into a positive, even with me, you've always been so helpful and like, oh, you got an issue, I got a solution. Or it wasn't even an issue. If I'm dealing with a challenge, you're very solution oriented.
Yeah,
and I like that. And I'm the same way. I'm like, all right, we got a problem. Let's not dwell, ruminate, obsess about it. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's like you can get really down about it, and sometimes like feel free. It's like you're more than welcome to get upset about it, but at the end of the day, you have to like not have to, but it's good to not dwell too much and try to move forward because. You can't
get nowhere.
You get nowhere fast.
And,
but we all have our own ways of dealing with challenges in life too. So
all right. So on that note, we're actually going to be going to an ad break for a little bit, and dude, the conversation flows. That's the best part. Is that 23 minutes flies by, but when we get back, we have some more conversations, some fun different topics, talk about video games, and we'll see you right after the break.
Peace.
See you soon.
I'll tell you Saturday night, and I'm feeling so alone. My neck is stained with all your lipstick marks.
Well, I've been here a lot longer than I thought I would, so getting fired would not be the worst thing.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex and welcome to the Space Zambonie ad break. I'm here to talk to you guys about a service that I really do enjoy. So it's actually a spoken word entertainment service called Audible, where you can listen to audiobooks, news digest, performances, guided meditation, fitness guides, whatever you could think of. Personally, I've been listening to information on Reiki healing. It's actually really cool. So if you want to get into audiobooks as well as audio entertainment, go to audibletrial.com/Space Zambonie, as you can see below at the bottom of the screen. If you do become a member, you get 1 free credit every month to pick any title, as well as 2 Audible originals. So if you haven't checked it out, now is definitely the time. Once again, audibletrial.com/Space Zambonie. Much love, and we'll see you guys back at the podcast. Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed that ad break, and we are back with Paul Vibes, host of the People's Podcast. I wonder, you know that ASMR kind of voice that people are like, welcome to the People's Podcast.
Yeah, we're going to start doing that now.
Yeah.
You have to do the voiceover.
So, really cool thing I dig big time is that whole spirituality vibe, because, like, for me, I always have the hardest time meditating, because people say, oh, you know, I was meditating, it's so cool, cleared my mind. I'm like, how? Have you ever had a successful just straight up meditation?
Yeah.
Okay, so fuck me, I guess.
I had one because I actually got like partially hypnotized during my child development class.
Wow.
Because the guy was a psychologist and everything like that. He's like, yeah, you know, to help you guys relax for this exam, I'll hypnotize you all. And so we had this whole like scenario. We were on the beach and everything like that. And like you could feel like the heat on your face. And then he's like, oh, well, a little balloon's being tied around your wrist. And the balloon is making your hand go up. And some people's hands started going up. I didn't notice my hand going up, but he said, yeah, your hand started raising up too. I was like, I didn't feel that way, but it felt great. Like, it honestly felt like the best sleep I ever had, like being hypnotized in that kind of way.
We need to bring a hypnotist down.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We're about to call his teacher to come in for.
He's like, you've been hypnotized this whole time.
That and the same teacher also had a story about one time where, you know, he was really chill, had a ton of stories we'd never learned. He just was a storyteller.
Yeah.
So he mentioned one time that it was like a class party. Instead of taking a test, they were just like, oh, let's have a little party and everything. And so he had a student that brought in weed brownies, and he didn't know it. And the entire class didn't know it, so he was eating like a couple of them. He's like, oh man, these are great. Oh, college.
Oh,
yeah.
right. 5th.
So technically 13th grade because, you know, the community college had that reputation, but I loved it. I learned a lot, I feel. But, damn, yeah, he's like, yeah, I was high for 3 days after those pop brownies.
My God.
Yep.
Wow.
That's insane. What the hell?
Yeah, he's like, those were great brownies.
I heard a story of a friend of mine who went to Suffolk Community College in the late 90s, and one of the teachers, it was like a writing class, was talking about talking to the student about his method of writing, and the student was like, my friend Kenny was like, yeah, I would take mushrooms into wine. It's like, oh really? Well, I should join you. We should do it together. And I don't think it was even after graduating. I think they took one weekend, maybe towards the end of the semester, and they would trip out on mushrooms. And it's so interesting to see people, the unique things they do in their teaching styles.
Like, yeah, that kid passed.
He passed. He went to another dimension. He passed in this universe and a few others.
He passed Mars. He passed Pluto.
He passed the 5th dimension.
He's got great vibes. But spiritual, to me, I just want to add, spirituality is different for everybody, and I'm sure you guys agree that our generation, especially, we're leaning more towards spirituality instead of religion, and there's nothing wrong with either of them. Everyone's story is different. But what I like, one of my mentors, who's also a social worker, who's also been on the podcast, I met him at a talk he was giving at Northport High School, and it wasn't spirituality versus religion, it was just spirituality and religion, talking about the differences, the similarities, and I like the way he put it. He put it like this: spirituality is creating your own story, whereas religion is following another one's story. And this is another good saying. It's like, it's all signposts. Your background, your religious, your parents' background, your religion's background, all of that. It's all signposts, different signposts leading to the same place. There's a lot of similarities between different religions, different spirituality modalities, different parts of history. A lot of it is similar, just with different words, different figures, different people, and I think at the end of the day, everyone's journey is going to be unique to them. And the podcast gives us a platform. We invite people from different walks of life just to share, not to preach, not to tell us why his is better than yours or vice versa, but just an opportunity and a platform to share. And that's what I want to do with the show.
So. That's cool. Because like I was saying before too, like I try to meditate, I just have a hard time. I even download like that.
You look like a pretty mellow guy, though. I am.
But like I downloaded this Calm app. They're like, or Headspace, I think that's what it was called. It's like, download Headspace. You could like get an idea for meditation. So they're like, use it on the train, use it there. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take like 10 minutes out of my day, and I put my headphones in and try. And I just it worked. I just fall asleep. Like that's it. I'm like, is that supposed to be the experience? Or like, how does meditation supposed to work? Like, how do you meditate?
It's a good question for me, and it's just like spiritual. Every way is different.
Yeah.
What meditation I like to do, and when I started my meditation practice, the typical thing that happens when anybody starts is they try meditating and they get annoyed or frustrated because they're thinking. So that causes, it's a saying, being shot by the arrow twice, because you got distracted, now you're beating yourself up over being distracted. So one of the biggest things for me, and I tell other people, and I'm not a instructor in this, I do talk a little bit about it in my talks, in the mindfulness talks I give, but the main thing is not beating yourself up. When you start meditating, especially, there's be thoughts, and the more that you resist and get upset with yourself, reactive, it's just going to cause yourself to be more frustrated, and you're not going to want to do it. It's a point now where if I'm meditating, someone comes in my room or knocks. When I first started meditating, I'd be reactive. Get out of my room, I'm meditating! Alex, get out of here! I don't want to talk about podcasts and video games and everything. No, but I would get reactive. Now, if it happens, that's a moment for me to be like, okay, I didn't want that to happen, but it's not. I'm gonna have. It's a test.
Yeah.
And when you're in traffic, that's a test. And when you're waiting online, that's a moment to meditate. So meditation doesn't mean sitting with a robe on a mountaintop because then you fall off. You don't want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? No, but you don't need to be a monk on a hilltop.
Yeah.
You could be an everyday person. You know, when you get into the car, when you open the door, when you wash your hands, to be present, to fully experience what's going on.
Yeah, it's a neat way of looking
at it. And I'm not perfect at it, you know. I'm still working on it, you know.
Oh, did you guys ever see that person that technically, I guess, kind of meditated? The Smiling Man? He had a YouTube channel. All his videos were like hour-long videos of him just staring at, smiling at the camera. Was that the person that had somebody break into their apartment while they were meditating, and then the person realized that the person was there, and so they just left?
He did Skype sessions too.
He did?
Really? He'd like call you and just stare at you.
Cool.
Yeah. Because is that the same guy from H3?
Oh, I don't know about that one. Possibly. It's possible.
Yeah, he had like this thing. He's like, I'll call you and stare into your soul. It's
That's
like,
cool.
Oh, geez. You have some people that have that razor, and it's almost too much. Like, I think I pretty good. You guys have good eye contact.
Yeah.
But some you can tell when it's just like, I can't even do it.
The deep stare.
That's right through you.
Yeah. Matt showed me this one like a few years back. He's like, this girl is gonna teach you how to meditate, but it's the hands-off jerking off through meditation. I'm like, Matt, what the fuck?
Say that again?
Yeah. So, do you remember that?
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, you don't?
Oh,
great. Now I see like.
I
think we gotta go right now.
Yeah.
I watch a whole bunch of videos.
He sends me this video. It's like, this lady is gonna basically have you jerk off without your hands, and you're gonna like have this crazy experience just through her talking. I was like,
that like when I was 18? Because it sounds like a long time ago.
It was younger, but I remember you even sent me the YouTube video. You're like, watch this. I was like, I don't know if I should, dude.
And
some
then you-
weird things on the internet. Speaking of
my
that,
God,
that
yeah.
guy that would call you through Zoom, it's like to hire a clown to come and I want to do that.
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah.
planning a trip. Like I'm gonna like pay someone to like sneak up on this house in Lake George with like a clown outfit and like scare everybody.
Wow.
We wanted to have, what was it, a little person stripper come over for one of our friends?
Yeah, because
And
Oh wait, I think they're here. We gotta.
because he was very like to himself and timid. So we're like, what's the weirdest thing to just break him? We're like, we're gonna hire like a little person stripper.
And wasn't it for St. Patrick's Day too?
It
So
was,
that-
yeah. We're gonna, and actually, oddly enough, they were sold out on that
Yeah,
day.
yeah, but
They're
we gotta
like-
find a single
yeah, they're
person.
in demand.
Yeah. I didn't think that
As
would
well.
be. I was like,
Yeah.
really? People do that for St. Patrick's Day? Whoa!
That's too.
But I guess you have crazy people like us out there.
Yeah, we're a little weird. We're a little out there. I have blue hair, you know.
I dig it
Color.
though.
Thank you, man.
I dig
My whole thing is just be you, be silly, be weird. Don't be afraid to be yourself. I want to dye my hair, so I'm like, I'll do it. Whatever. I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Just once in a while.
And it adds uniqueness to the look too, you know?
Yeah, and it's not permanent. What is permanent? But you know, my hair grows like everybody else's, so you know,
Yeah.
it changes.
So, in terms of video gaming, because I know we're talking about like the PlayStation 1 and stuff like that, which by the way,
That's my OG. That's
Yeah.
the original for me, man.
have you played Gex?
Oh, put me in the spot. What's that about?
It's about a gecko.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little leaping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played that before.
So, we played it on our channel, and we used like this. It was basically
Emulator.
yeah, pretty much, but it wasn't like a normal one. So when we played it through that, we owned the game too on like, but we didn't have a way to record the PS3 playing PS1 games at the time. So like I would just record the emulator, and we had the worst. I'm like
the
Matt, I
controls
promise
were
you. I'm like,
atrocious.
dude, I promise you the game was not this bad. And he was like, I don't know.
Controls are just a bad game.
Oh
It's
my
just
god.
all the controls, like the
Yeah.
levels were. I'm like, dude,
They
I
were
used to.
impossible.
I said I played this in elementary school. I swear to God, it wasn't this like
Dude, games
crazy.
I used to not. One thing about me, PS1 games, my brother and I would talk. We're younger, obviously. We didn't beat a lot of games. I think it also just that you're getting bored, but we get
Yeah.
stuck like Dino Crisis, Resident Evil. We had this cool neighbor.
Oh, dude, Resident Evil,
Yeah,
yeah.
the best game. Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, Spyro,
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot.
Hell yeah.
All those games. Like those are the, there's so many of those games that I just love. You
Yeah.
know? I just thinking about brings me back to my childhood.
But Resident Evil is really
It's good.
tough without a
Oh.
guide, and like I can understand like not beating certain games, especially like
And it controls the angles.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
tank controls.
Oh my god! Yeah, when you're in the corner of the screen.
I beat it later on without a guide.
Yeah.
That was like
That's
when
tough.
it was redone though, when it was remastered for GameCube.
yeah.
And it was, that was cool. Yeah.
Even they remastered Spyro for like the PlayStation
Yeah.
4 and stuff.
Driver, that was another big
Driver
one.
was awesome.
I could play the game for hours. I would love to. I'm a big free roamer. That's why I mentioned you Elder Scrolls because
Yeah.
I like games, and I think it relates to me in life. I like games. I don't know what you guys feel. Some people like the level-based direction type of game.
Yeah.
I like games where you can do it at your own pace. You could do side quests. You could do stuff. I'm not saying Driver was always like that, but it had an open world. You could take the car. You could drive for
Yeah, that
hours.
was awesome.
And like, I used to love stuff like that. And then I got into Oblivion in the early 2000s, and that game blew my mind for its time. The graphics. Remember that scene when you walked out the sewers?
Yeah, dude.
At the time, I don't know about you guys, but I saw it,
100%.
I was like, I can go there, I can go there. I see that tree, I can go there. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, cool.
That's the thing I always think about is like if future me went back to past me and said this is what video games are going to be like, I would have like shit my pants
my
back
God.
then. I was like,
Yeah.
no way.
Especially with The Last of Us, like it
Yeah.
looks
Oh, yeah,
real.
Last of Us
Like,
What's
Part
the newest one? How's
Oh
it-
my
you play
God.
The newest one?
It's so good.
It's really,
really
really
good.
good.
People,
I was reading some hate online saying
Oh.
the story, they could have done better.
it's not worth it.
like
Like, hey, this.
it's the game is so well done that it's like,
Oh, you mean there's no hate?
Yeah.
No, it was
I mean,
so
we
good.
could see where some people's arguments are,
Yeah.
but that's just because they're kind of like.
I
How
could
big
beautiful
size.
was it? How beautiful was the game?
It was gorgeous.
So,
yeah.
except for like this one part where they like have you
Oh,
switch characters
yeah.
and they put you in like this
That one I
big
didn't care
stadium.
that much about it,
Like
so-
the lighting and the rendering was like so off.
Really?
I'm like, what are they? But that was like the only scene that was really strange.
Yeah.
Besides that, the game's awesome.
Yeah.
And Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, that
game is
pretty
beautiful.
good, too.
You beat that one too?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's so crazy.
I heard good things about that game.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
It's awesome. The once again, the funny thing about that game too, we were playing I think the week it came out. So we're riding the horse, we're following the wind. We have no clue where the hell to go because you have no compass, you have no map, you're just following the wind, right? So we're like, where the hell are we going? You can swipe up on like the touchpad and the wind will blow again. So we're like, where the fuck are we going?
What are you doing? You walk into the room. It's like, Alex.
So then we're walking and like we walk into the river. The horse is like, nope, I'm not crossing that. So it turns around and it just starts walking in place. I'm like, uh-oh. And then it got stuck there. I called my wife and I'm like, look at this. The horse is just stuck trying to walk. But besides that, the game's awesome.
That's cool.
So cool. So well built.
I'm excited for the new Elder Scrolls. I like games like that. Open
Oh,
world,
yeah.
fun.
You'd like Ghost of Tsushima because it's really big.
Yeah,
For
it's
PC
big.
as well?
Oh, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I know it's
Because
on
Red Dead Redemption, the open
Oh
world
my god,
game I love.
yeah.
Did you play Red Dead Online too, or do you play?
No, I played just a story.
So if I play online, I usually play like private server because I'm not too keen on like opening up the game and hearing like, "Oh, turn off your console! Come on, what are you doing?" Like the 8-year-olds and stuff playing. I'm like, mute. So I usually play on like a private server, but I play like GTA Online. That's so fun to like big open world. You can
that's
get like the
cool.
flying bikes, but I would recommend.
Check it out.
Yeah, big time.
I definitely will. I've seen, so many of the games that grew up with a Halo, new Halo.
Oh my god.
That looked cool. The trailer for the new one. People I hate on it.
Yeah,
But I think Master Chief for me too. I mean, you guys like my childhood, right?
big time. The first time I played Halo, I went to my cousin's house. He was younger than me, and he's just like beating on the body on the floor. And the most unique thing, because I had never seen it in a video game before, is that he kept hitting him, and the blood like kept coming. I was like, what? I'm like, I've never seen that in the game before. So we sat there, I want to say literally like 20 minutes just going
I used to love in some games you could do something that's so much, and then eventually it had to like go invisible.
Yeah.
It'd be so much. I used to see how I used to download mods. Just like Fallout mod, I could just shoot bullets on the wall. It's funny, small details.
Yeah.
You see games, and since you guys do a lot of stuff in your channel of gaming, like it's so cool to see the evolution of video games. Even like small details. Like you see this new thing now, the ray tracing effect graphics.
Yeah, dude,
And
it's crazy.
stuff. And you see the consoles. And I want to hear you guys think about consoles because you see consoles almost becoming like PCs, like more customizable. And I think that's a smart move because people like to customize and do things like that.
The new Xbox really just looks like a computer gaming tower.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's crazy. And
I didn't catch that.
Listening always. It's always listening. Let's listen.
yeah. And then the PS5, which I still don't even comprehend how it's going to do it, is going to have 3D audio without surround sound. So I don't know. It still makes no sense like how it's going to work. But apparently, just a normal TV, you're going to be able to hear sounds all around the room with whatever technology they
I
created.
guess the console has to be positioned in a certain way.
Yeah, I have no clue how that's going to work. But it
Maybe
sounds...
that's where those curves are coming from. Those little
Maybe
like
shooting out the
protrusions
sound.
from it. It magnifies the sound.
just a guy yodeling inside the console.
You just gotta put the chip in your head, and then you get the full 3D experience.
Yeah, every console comes with Jeff Dunham to throw his voice around the room.
You know what I love too? I haven't played. I've been so busy. You can tell I've got a couple things going on, but VR.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
Skyrim VR, and I have a water-cooled PC, a GTX 1080 Ti, and I got it water-cooled.
Yeah.
And I knew you'd appreciate that. I do that. I have Skyrim VR, and I do mods. I do graphics mods, so the game's already beautiful on VR.
Yeah.
And I download these mods. I stare at the ground sometimes, I'm like the textures. It's so cool to see the details.
That's so cool. Yeah, we had the PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Which
Yeah.
it's
awesome.
This came out with the Iron Man game too. I haven't tried it yet, but
That'd be epic.
Oh, damn.
yeah, they had the Batman one before, and you could like play the piano, and if you don't play the certain keys, you could just be Batman, like playing a piano.
People make piano players would get in the game and do like a good song. That's so cool. I've seen that stuff.
Yeah, you said you do martial arts.
I have
Or
done
you-
a lot of martial
yeah,
arts. I've done
that's
jiu-jitsu, taekwondo. I have a gym in my basement. It's been kind of taken over by storage right now, but I love martial arts. And it's really funny is just yesterday, or maybe the day before, my days blend together. What planet are we on? What day is it? We had this guy that owns, and I'd love to connect with anybody on my podcast. I'd love to share with you guys. They're always great people. He owns Fit Body. He has a fitness and boxing gym in East Northport.
That's cool.
And he invented the aqua bag. You ever heard of the aqua punching bag? It's a bag that you fill it with water and it's much better on your hands and has a lot of benefits compared to regular punching bags.
Yeah.
He's met Anderson Silva, UFC fighters. Mike Tyson uses his bag. It's sold at Walmart.
That's awesome.
It's a big bag. It's popular, and it's known as the guy. It's people from Long Island that invented this. So he came over and it came on the podcast, and he was talking about how his gym has been affected to COVID. And I know we're going kind of off subject, but he shared a story of how he created a special needs Zoom class. Because, it's just 5 years to the day that he opened the gym. He was just slowly making money. This happens, and he's doing a bunch of different things to try to keep it afloat.
Yeah.
Because, gyms are really hurting right now, as you guys probably know. So he came up with a couple ideas, but one of the things he does is a special needs class, because he's a daughter with Down syndrome.
That's really cool.
And maybe
That's
we can
neat.
link in the description of this video, because it's a super great deal, and he really works with the special needs people where they're at, and has accommodations for them and gets them in shape. So
That's
really
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah. I used to do Kung Fu, and before that I did Kempo.
Nice.
And you also did
I did Kung Fu.
You did way more than me.
I did it for a little while. I did one tournament, and that was it. But technically, it was like a mixed martial arts tournament because it was mainly like karate people and taekwondo people that were there. But then I learned a little bit of qigong, so that learned some meditation with that and
We're
everything.
still Martial Arts Day. I see
that'd be really
we can
cool.
film it. And I have some martial arts people that I'm sure would love to come and collaborate on a video.
Yeah.
Where we can do your podcast, my podcast comes together and have some training.
Yeah, that'd be really
And
neat.
see
That'd be
all
really
of our viewers can see us working
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
doing pad work and all sweaty, going Super Saiyan.
So when I did Kung Fu, because I went for 2 or 3 days for Kung Fu. Kempo I did until I beat the teacher in a match, and then I was like, all right, I'm done. But Kung Fu, we went, and this guy was he was the Sifu, but he was like Huggy Bear. So he's he came out of the room smoking weed with 3 girls on his arms, and I'm like, we're learning what here? But then he did this shit with his energy, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna use my key. He goes, you stand here, you stand here. And he managed, without us touching or moving or anything, to have us lean almost like this, without even realizing it, just using his energy to push us together. And that was the most mind-blowing shit I'd ever seen in it felt like I was straight out of a Bruce Lee kung fu movie.
And where was this?
It was just at his house. It was maybe he smoked too much and we were all seeing shit. But then he was basically trying to fuck everybody, and then he went, all right, at first he's like, I'm going to teach you guys for free, and I just want you to experience it. And then he's like, every class you come here is going to be $150.
Wow.
So we're like, I'm not doing that.
And what kind of martial arts is this?
It's Kung Fu.
Kung Fu. And how'd you connect with this guy?
It was one of my friends, teachers that I used to work with.
You gotta be careful. Very cult-like, girls on his shoulders. It can very ego for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's all mind stuff too. It's a lot of just hypnotizing type of stuff.
It was wild because I was.
How old is he? The older guy?
Yeah, he was older. Yeah.
But that's creepy to have girls when you're training young kids in martial arts.
He's like, all right, get out of here, hoes. We're like, oh my god.
You talk like that too?
Yeah, dude. I wish I knew who he was.
How was his energy? But obviously kind of weird, or was he a little out there?
No, he was super chill or whatever until he asked us for $150 per class. Because then we're like,
wow. How many people else training? That's interesting.
It was a private group.
Wow.
It was it was literally
We should
only.
reach him out. I'm gonna do a
us
podcast with him.
Yeah, I wish I knew who he was still.
We should find out.
Yeah, I gotta find him. I'd be like, don't listen to the podcast I just had, but. All right, we're actually getting very close to the end of the podcast, which is insane.
Dang, it always goes so quick.
What I do, I'm obliged to ask because our editor and one of our friends always is like, you have to ask everyone. Do you have any ghost stories?
Ghost stories. Oh man, I think I just need a moment. Start sharing one of yours so I can think of one.
Okay. I usually tell the Hat Man one, but I've told it on podcast before. And you told the one before as well. Oh, here. Okay, I got one. So I used to live in an apartment. Well, it's like my parents' basement. So my mom always experienced stuff when we were growing up. She would see things, hear things, all that other stuff. So I'm working and I'm laying down in bed and I'm trying to go to sleep, and I literally just sat down in the bed. So it's not I was super sleepy or I was tired, and I start hearing typing on the keyboard in the room. So it's I'm like, what the hell is that? It's seriously, someone's typing a paragraph or something. So I walk in, check in the room. I don't hear anything. I just cross the door, and right. So everyone's like, whatever you do, don't talk to it. Like, don't engage with it because you don't. If it's bad spirit, it's gonna be a bad situation. So I sit down. I hear it again. I walk into the room. I go, "Can you stop?" I'm like, "I'm trying to sleep." I'm like, "I'm not trying to like be mean or anything, but I really want sleep." Then I went to bed and didn't hear anything. So then my sister-in-law, later on, she, lives in the same apartment I did, and she experienced the same thing. No one in the room, but typing on the computer.
Wow.
But yeah.
Maybe we need that person to write more of our scripts.
Yeah. It's a ghostwriter.
So mine isn't exact. I don't want to make one. I want to be honest. I have kind of not a ghost story, but more just a kind of scary, eerie type of story.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So I remember I was whatever you got. We need a ghostwriter right now. Okay. I had this moment when I was in middle school where I had this extreme fear of death. All of a sudden, like we all go through the stage, but it's all of a sudden. I remember, I think we were learning about meteors and this. I was so fearful of death. I would go up to the aides and the teachers and my parents, be like, "Are we gonna die? Am I gonna die eventually? Are you gonna die eventually?" And it was just extreme, just fear. And I was just so worried about dying and my family dying and me dying eventually. This idea of death. And I remember it was something that I was dealing with for weeks at a time at this point in my life in middle school. And I would be crying, I'd be hysterical, I'd be running up to my family being like, "Are we gonna die? Are you gonna die?" It's extreme. It was just scary. I mean,
that's wild.
I feel sad just thinking about how sad I was and fearful I was at that time. And it was so strange because days after that, I remember I was in the den with my brother and we were playing Grand Theft Auto. All these little details you remember when big things happen. My mom starts screaming from downstairs and she's like crying hysterical. My brother and I run to the top of the stairs and look down and she's like, "Oh, Pop just died," or and my mom's dad died. And it was just such an eerie thing because everybody knew I just had this random fear of death literally right before.
That is crazy.
And people always thought I was very close to him because his name is Paul. He was into volunteer community service. He's very big in the community. So we always had this close relationship. And I remember the last time I visited him, we were always very affectionate, but I remember something told me to put my arm around him and hug him, and I could remember feeling his beard and like these little details. I could remember it was like extra special moment, And I remember when I left his house that last time I saw him, he always used to wave outside the glass door, and it was just a very interesting experience having the extreme fear of death right before somebody died in my family. It was almost like I knew. I just didn't know who was going to die. It was very scary.
Strangely enough, something similar happened to me. So when my mother's father, he lives in Brazil. He lived in Brazil, and he was very sick. Wasn't feeling well, and we all knew eventually he was gonna like pass and stuff. And during that time, when he was literally like, I didn't know how he was. I didn't get a chance to check up on him. I have the camera in the back of the house, and my phone keeps going person detected. So I'm like, all right, that's weird. So I look at it. I'm trying to see nothing. I skip back to where it said there's a person, nothing. I'm like, that's very strange. So it kept going for like an hour. Person detected, person detected, person detected. And I was like, I'm like, if that's him trying to visit me, man, I don't know what it is. But then like within a few days of that, he'd passed, and they said, he already wasn't in his body. He's just waiting for the body to shut down. I was like, no.
You think in a way he was visiting you and your family there?
I think so. Because it was weird.
Wow. But yeah, seemed like that. It may not be a ghost story. Now, last thing is, do I have time for a quick story?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's not really a true ghost story, but so it was like around Halloween. I had a bunch of friends over to watch a movie. I'll tell two quick stories.
Yeah.
Bunch of friends over watching Insidious. My friend and it's late at night.
Yeah.
My friend and I were by like the back door, and there's like these glass windows in the door. I'm like, let's sneak out and knock on the windows and freak everybody out.
Yeah.
As we're doing that, about to bang on the windows, the power goes out. And it wasn't us. It was so the power went out, and I'm like, we might as well still do this. And we're like, okay. And so we start banging on the glass, hiding, and they some of them peed their pants. They said, it was crazy. Freaked out. And one other story is we're in the backyard around my fireplace, and late at night, and my dad, he's a cool guy, he had this idea where he's like, let's just follow my lead. He's like, tell everybody that your grandpa's staying over and we can't find him. That he's a little bit older and he's he can't find the help to look for him. So I tell my friend, hey guys, I don't want to freak you out. I just want to stay calm, but can you guys help me look in the backyard? My grandfather's staying over with us. He's not doing too well. He may not be disoriented, right? So we start looking around. My dad on the second floor, he took the screen off the door, and we had this Halloween prop. It was a scary guy. I don't think you can get away doing something like this anymore. Yeah. It was like you get like a costume Halloween store. It was like a hanging old man corpse.
Oh.
So he took that, and he screamed out the window. My friends are all like looking up. Grandpa, get out! Get away from the window!
Oh,
and he takes the Halloween prop. And he's like, Grandpa, no! And people, my friends, the guy fell almost on one of my friends. Their girls were crying.
Oh my!
I felt bad. Man. So yeah,
that's wild.
I might set up ghost stories for all this karma, this stuff, but it was pretty funny. It was really funny.
Nah, dude, that's really.
Grandpa, get away from the window! You see this body. People are like looking up and they see the guy falling. It was
that's super creative, very high effort to do.
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll film it one day. We'll do something like that on the podcast.
We just won't tell anyone. It's like, woo!
We'll attach a GoPro to the guy tumbling down.
All right. So, unfortunately, that's the end of the podcast. We very much appreciate having you on and being able to talk about all your stuff. And just one last time before we do end, I'd love for you to just plug everything you got where people can check you out.
Nothing. No, no, you can find me on my YouTube channel, which I have videos on my talks, my journeys, my travels, but also my podcast.
Yeah.
But it's all under Paul Vibes. You can't miss it. It's a little peace sign, and he'll include a logo of mine.
Yeah.
And then Instagram, Paul Vibes. And just send you guys good vibes. You can find my email, all that stuff. You can also visit me on my website at paulvibes.com.
Are you looking to be on Apple Podcasts as well?
I'm going to be doing that. I'm slacking on that. I've been so focused on the video and audio, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I now that I got this new intro and help from someone like yourself, I will be uploading to iTunes and Spotify.
Yeah, because if you need any help with that stuff too,
Anchor, right? Is a good one.
Feel free. Actually, we just use our website.
Use your website.
Yeah, we host our podcast through our website.
Just you don't do Apple. You don't do.
No, it goes. So we have the RSS feed, and it just sends it over.
Okay, he's gonna help me with that.
Yeah. No, seriously though, if you do, we'd love to help you out. But
you are really, and I want to just say thank you to you too. You guys have great vibes. I always appreciate not just having you on your show, but all the other amazing support you guys do without the attention.
Thank you very much.
Expecting a pat on your back. Like, you guys are awesome vibes, and anything I can do to support this channel, I would love to put you guys into my podcast. And I think it's important that you'd agree to support people within your community and content creators, because there's not a ton of people local that do this. There's a lot of people that watch it, but there's not enough people that create. So I'd love to help you guys out more often.
Appreciate it, big time. So thank you guys for tuning in. We have a lot of fun content planned out for the rest of the month. Next month we are doing a lot of crazy stuff, and things are going to change a lot in the channel, so look forward to that. But yeah, so we hope you enjoy the podcast. We hope you enjoy the post-podcast game, and we will talk to you guys next time. So we're Space Zambonie, and we have Paul Vibes on our podcast, host of the People's Podcast, and we are playing our post-podcast game. So what we're going to be doing for this game is we're basically going to be playing like one line at a time. We're basically, instead of a song, it's like a Whose Line kind of game. We're making a speech, right? So, Paul, actually, it's a motivational speech. So we want to get everyone off their seats and clapping and having a
Intent and cry.
Yeah. At the end of this, if someone's not crying, we did it terrible.
I'll cry.
Yeah. So because you are the motivational speaker, I feel like it's only fair that you start us off.
I'd like to thank you all for coming here today. We have some very exciting news that my friend is going to share with you all.
Yes, the
Toy hammock
has now come out at a store near you. It's available at your nearest Target. That's correct. It's no longer called Target because that's the better way it sounds. And your Wally World, which is Walmart.
You might be realizing that there is a wolf in the background. The wolf is here. Yeah, it's a big old wolf,
You can smell the blood.
Yeah, it's crazy. There it is. Oh my god. So that wolf is here for...
Well, I can't really tell you yet. Oh man. Well, you see, we're really trying to expand the things that we do here at the podcast. We're trying a lot of weird and funky things, just like the following.
So the first thing that we've implemented into our regularly scheduled programming is
Tasty cups of coffee.
just so that way it produces enough energy, so that way we could continually entertain you. And on top of that, we've also been doing frequent ice baths. So we've been sleeping with dry ice, as well as a way to boost our metabolism and keep you entertained.
So, if everyone checks under their seats right now, you'll see that we did provide you with coffee to get everyone started. You don't need to be doing that right now. You can wait. You can sit back down. So we actually want everyone to do it at the same time. So if everyone can line up and just go right down the middle line, that'd be perfect. So the other thing we want to express today is how to keep your emotions in check. So the best way we do that is by...
You just need to cry as often as possible. Listen, so what you need to do is just cry. Just cry as often as possible. Find your favorite pillow. Sometimes I find my friends here, we just cry. It's good to let it out. Don't hold things in. It's very bad to hold things in because
if you hold those things in, you're never going to grow as a person. So that is the whole basis of the coffee, a cleansing, energizing kind of release. But on top of that, it's holding you, like how painful it could be to hold something in. Just imagine that as all the terrible emotions and negativity that have been brewing and fermenting inside of your body. And then
you pop in A Dog's Purpose on DVD, because nothing's sadder than having to see a dog die 1,000 times in one movie. So if you just pop that movie in, you're guaranteed you're releasing the stress. You are watching a movie just about a cute little puppy, and you're wishing it was voiced by Tobey Maguire, but that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Their tears will flow, but that comes naturally. The other thing we want to kind of keep in check is anger. So the way we do that is...
anger doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve anybody. It's holding things in. And like we've been talking about here, and if you've been listening to anything we've been talking about, is this idea of releasing, right? And to be serious for 1 second, you should get a therapist, you can find a spiritual guide, you can meditate. There's a lot of good things you can do to release. And it's all about having good vibes and having good energy, and that's a great way to work on your vibes. Another way to work on getting good vibes is
planting a big, beautiful banana tree.
Jesus Christ, man.
so, you see, anger makes you mushy. It doesn't make you a strong person. It may seem like it may seem like it makes you strong, kind of like that firm banana. It just goes to show like how soft of a person that you honestly can be. So in regards to unleashing all that anger, and you just gotta let it go. Kind of like all that sadness that you're, all those tears that you're expelling when you're watching A Dog's Purpose. As you're watching these movies, then you're growing as a person, kind of like the banana tree that.
You say banana tree? Yeah. That is forever growing. You'll notice that if you look on Google Maps, you can see that the banana tree is just still growing out into space. That thing will be growing forever. And we need to grow like that. We need to always be growing and reaching up towards the stars. One day that banana tree is going to hit another planet, and what happens if a monkey climbs up that thing? Who's to say? But at the end of the day, we have to just channel everything and maybe pull some more bananas off that tree. I mean, you can make a smoothie with them. Smoothies help release, that tension, that anger. And, when I put things in my smoothie, I just really throw it in there, because at the end of the day, it's going to blend that up, and I get to see it circulate, and the saws cut it up. And that's just a way to release things, because you don't have to punch a wall. You just throw something in a blender. You know what I'm saying, Paul?
Yes. Don't punch walls. Don't punch Paul. Don't punch malls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, but like you were saying, expansion, going out into space. We all need to expand in our individual lives, as society, as a community. And I don't think there's no coincidence that you said monkey. As you know, part of my totems and part of my merch and my spirit animal is a monkey, a third-eyed monkey. And we all want you to expand your third eye by releasing, as all the great things that we talked about today. But other things, you got to release with a therapist, with a professional. You want to release because you don't want to hold things in. It only causes you suffering. And I think that, this is a beautiful motivational talk. I don't know what else we need to say. I think that's it. Mic drop.
Let's all just say one word.
One word.
Describe, like how we all feel, how you should feel.
Detoxed.
Released.
Friendship.
Thank you.
What else can we say? Thank you guys for listening. We hope you did enjoy the podcast. We hope you enjoyed our motivational speech. Thank you again, Paul, for coming on. And much love to everybody watching. Good vibes.
Good vibes.
Peace out.